Rash words sa Hebrew, bote, bote nga, are like sword, thrust, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. Session 46, the Book of Proverbs, Part 2. Naku po, pasensya na. Baka medyo hindi lang 2 parts yung Proverbs natin kasi maraming issues dito. And anyway, there are only 5 books ang di-discuss natin. So, review muna natin yung points na napag-aralan na natin nung last time. Maalaala nyo, diniscuss natin yung 5 wisdom books, yung 5 libro na under the category o genre o literary style na wisdom. At yun na nga ang Proverbs, ang dinidiscuss natin ngayon. So isusunod natin Book of Job, and then yung Book of Ecclesiastes, or in Hebrew, ang pangalan niya ay Koheleth, and then Book of Sirach, and Wisdom of Solomon. So, ito yung mga libro na ating talakayin. Nabanggit ko rin yung goal of the Book of Proverbs last time, yung literary style na masyal. So, hindi lang yung proverb na kawikaan ang ating tinutukoy dito, kundi mas malawak. And then, yung different parts ng Book of Proverbs o yung literary structure or outline niya. And then, yung authorship and date ng libro, kailan ito naisulat, at anonymous, itong collection na ito. We really don't know who wrote them, although attributed kay Solomon. Attribution lang yon, hindi ibig sabihin authorship. And then, kung ano ang purpose ng collection na ito o writing na ito, ang libro na ito ay para sa paghuhubog ng mga kabataan, kanilang kagandahang asal o character formation. So, number 6 points yun. Actually, 8, parang nagkamali ako yung numbering last time kasi nagdagdag ako, yung 7, so naging 8. So, ngayong gabi, itutuloy ko yon, which is point number 7. Okay? So, ito na. Yung theology of the book. Pag sinabing theology, ano ang konsepto niya? In general, pag binasa mo yung buong libro at kukuha ka ng synthesis kung ano nga ba sino ba ang Diyos dito sa libro na ito? What kind of God does it present ang libro ng Proverbs? No? Then, sino ang tao? No? So, anong konsepto niya ng tao? No? And then, idagdag ko rin. At anong konsepto niya ng kalikasan, or creation, yung nilalang in general, not only the human being, but the whole of creation. Kasi nga, ang mga wisdom literature, meron silang special emphasis sa creation. Okay. So, yung tatlong aspeto na yon, ang pag sinabi kong theology, ang konsepto niya tungkol sa Diyos, tungkol sa tao, at tungkol sa kalikasan. Okay. On God, very clear na para sa Book of Proverbs, ang Diyos ay creator. Creator. Hindi bago sa atin yun. No? Okay. Pero in the ancient world, it is something new. Kasi yung creation, maraming Diyos ang nagki-create. So, polytheistic. No? Maraming Diyos. Naniniwala siya sa maraming Diyos. So, one God, the creator. Monotheism. Kahit na yung mga nakapaligid sa kanilang kultura ay polytheistic. No? Naniniwala sa maraming Diyos. Okay? Theistic, sabi nila yon. No? Yan. Naniniwala sa maraming Diyos. Pero, ang turo ng Proverbs, one God. So, therefore, close. Malapit na malapit ito sa turo ng mga unang libro ng Biblia, ang Torah. Tsaka yung dinadasal natin na Shema. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord one. The Lord is one. No? The Lord alone. And that one God is the Creator. Ang manlilikha. Wala nang iba. Okay. And so, for example, notice yung Proverbs chapter 3, 19 to 20, ang sabi niya doon. The Lord by wisdom, okay, by wisdom, founded the earth. Yun yung word na creation. Nilikha niya ang lupain, ang lupa. Ay, by understanding, He established the heavens. Nakita niyo yung so-called parallelism doon, founded, established, earth, heaven. So, the whole of the universe. Hindi lang yung earth at heavens and no more in between. Of course, totality yun. Merism ang tawag dyan sa literary style. Merism, sabi nila. Merismus. Yung it covers, it only mention 2 words, but it really covers the whole thing. No? So pag sinabing heaven and earth, hindi lang yung heaven at the earth. Heaven and earth are full of your glory. O yung heaven lang ang full of your glory na, yung earth lang ang full of glory ng Panginoon. Paano yung in between? Of course, pag heaven and glory is a literary technique, literary style, or literary figure of speech, sabi nga nila, na merism yon. So, and so the whole, everything that exists, whether in the heavens or on the earth or in between, founded by God, by the one God, the Lord. Okay? So, another text from Proverbs 16 verse 4, again, the Lord, one God, has made everything, okay, so for a purpose, even the wicked for the evil day. Speaking of pandemic, He created the pandemic, kung titignan nyo, He allowed, sabi nila, He allowed that kind of suffering. Kasi nga, God, the Lord has made everything for a purpose. Minsan, pag nakakarinig ako ng mga naghihinaing, yung nagsusumbong ang kanilang mga mabigat na problema sa buhay, and then later on they will say, baka may purpose ang Panginoon sa lahat na itong nararanasan namin sa aming family because everything has a design, a divine plan, a purpose. Ang gandang pakinggan yun. Yung dinidiscern niya kung ano bang purpose itong trial na ito. Kasi nga, the understanding that the Lord has made everything, like yung Proverbs, for a purpose. Okay. Now, that's on God. On creation naman. No, nawala yung human being. Anyway, on creation muna. Ang intindi niya sa creation, sa mga things created by God, mga nilalang ng Diyos, or ang kalikasan ay harmonious. Meron siyang sedek, sabi sa Hebrew. May order. Order, ibig sabihin, harmony. Yeah. So, hindi chaos ang creation. Meron siyang anyo. So, very similar to the creation story in the book of Genesis. No? God establishing an order, a shape of the water, for example. He formed the water, made into with a shape. Mayroon siyang order, may anyo, hindi chaos. And it is sustained through a wisdom, but this wisdom is personified as a woman. So I will explain in more detail later on itong phenomenon of wisdom woman. Okay. So, that is the creation. Oh, nawala yung okay. So, I will later on. Now, go back to the wisdom moment later. The third item then on theology is ang pagtingin niya sa tao, on the human being. Sa creation sa Genesis, ang presentation ng human being is the apex o yung crown, sabi nga natin, crown of creation, yung human being. Yan yung lagi nating narinig pati sa katesismo, ng tao ang siyang crown, no? Trono or crown, corona ng paglalalang ng Diyos. No? Pero dito sa Proverbs, Book of Proverbs, yung human being ay ongoing project. Unfinished project siya. Hindi tapos. Hindi pa siya tapos. Yung tao. Pinoform pa lang siya. Hinuhubog pa lang siya. What we call ini-educate pa lang siya. Anong ini-educate niya? Yung puso, yung kalooban ng tao, yung character niya. Yung pagiging tao niya. Yung pagpapakatao niya. Di ba sabi natin, madaling maging tao, mahirap magpakatao. So yung pagpapakatao niya, yung kanyang behavior, yung asal, no, hindi pa tapos, no? Hinuhubog pa lang. And the principle of formation, character formation is kung sabihin mo, ano ang halimbawa tinatanong ka, paano mo tinuturuan ng isang student? Ano ang parang principle of philosophy mo? Sasabihin nila, what is the philosophy of your education? Minsan tinatanong yan, anong klaseng principle ang ginagamit mo sa pagtuturo? Di ba? Pag nag-seminar ka ng education, about education, magpipresent sila ng mga different principles. Para yun ang i-adapt mo to in your classroom as a way of thinking. Halimbawa, sasabihin na, number 1 lagi yung student participation. Yan, sasabihin nila. Student-oriented teaching. Kasi nung panahon natin, ang teaching ay nagle-lecture. Katulad ginagawa ko ngayon, nagsusulat sa blackboard, makikinig lang yung student. Ngayon, kailangan mo ng outcome-based. Sasabihin nila, kailangan merong outcome na ilalabas ng estudyante doon sa pagtuturo mo. Outcome-based, sasabihin. So, nagbabago yung principle ng education. Dito sa wisdom, in the book of Proverbs, the principle is what we call traditional wisdom. And what is the traditional wisdom? If let me just say it in an expression. If you do good, you are blessed. If you do evil, you are cursed. Yan. Hindi to karma, not karma. Hindi yung karma, no? Not karma. Kasi yung karma, automatic yun eh. Kung gumawa ko ng mabuti, may mabuting darating sa'yo. Hindi, yung masama naman, yung masama nangyayari din sa'yo. Automatic energy yun ng karma. Ang traditional wisdom is, it's God who is in control. So if you do good, you are rewarded by God. But if you do evil, expect punishment from God. So Diyos lagi yung ang ahente, ang agent, ang cause. Not something like an energy or what. So, traditional wisdom, yun yung principle ng education, ng character formation ng kabataan. kung itong gagawin may mabuti, mabuti din ang lalabas, no? By God, no? If you do evil, you will expect this consequence. And that is because that is given by God as a consequence. Okay. So, yun yung tinatawag natin na traditional wisdom. Okay. So, kaya yung tao ay, ang pagtingin niya sa tao ay, sabi ko kanina, matuturuan pa. Educability, yung possibility na ma-shape mo pa, mahubog mo pa yung tao. Sabi nga nila, yung matandang kalabaw, hindi mo na malagyan ng, sabi ni Father Ronnie noon, maalala ko, yung matandang kalabaw, may hirap ng lagyan ng pamato dito sa kanyang, itatapon niya na yan. Kasi nga hindi siya nasanay na merong yoke sa kanyang leeg. No? Yung mga pamilya sa kalabaw at may hinihilang kariton. No? Pag matanda yung kalabaw, hindi yung shape ng kanyang yoke ay masakit na sa kanya. Hindi mo na maturuan, ibig sabihin noon. So, and kaya yung human being is still to be formed, at mahalaga therefore sa isang human being ay matuturuan siya. Kaya nga, symbolized by the hearing ear and the seeing eye. Ang daming laging nababanggit dyan na, sa Book of Proverbs about the ear and about the eye. Kasi nga yung ear, marinig mo at makikita mo. Ibig sabihin, natututo ka. Di ba nung unang panahon, hearing ang pinaka number 1 na para matuto ka kasi marami namang tao na hindi marunong magbasa at magsulat. Siguro, we don't have any statistics of the ancient world, but definitely there were more people who knew who did not know how to read and write, more than those who knew how to read and write. Only very few. Only the elite, only yung mga may kaya, only yung mga scribe, hindi pa nga minsan yung mga hari kasi yung mga hari, galing lang sa giyera yan katulad ni David, katulad ng mga ibang pero may mga particular group of people lang na tinuruan magbasa at magsulat. We have even a doubt kung si Jesus knew how to read and write. There was only one incident na nagsulat siya. Hindi pa tunay na sulat yun kasi parang meron silang ginaganon-ganon noong that woman was accused of committing adultery. Di ba doon nagsulat si Jesus? Hindi naman sinabi ko kung sinulat o baka naman yung pagsulat niya parang sulat bata lang na nag-drawing lang na ganon. Na ginanong-ganon niya lang yung zan or whatever, and then sinabi na nagsulat. We don't have any record of Jesus writing. So, mas malaki yung percentage na Jesus did not know how to write. Maybe he knew how to read, but necessarily know how to write. Or, so hindi, my point is, don't get me wrong, my point is, that there are many people who did not know how to read and write, and therefore hearing is very essential to being educated para ikaw ay maturuan, ma-form, mahubog. So the hearing ear and the seeing eye, the Lord has made them both. Sabi ni Proverbs 20 verse 12. Okay, the hearing ear, tignan nyo yung doble-doble yon. The hearing ear, sabi mo, hindi man, yung ear na nga, ba't dinoble niya pa? Hearing ear, seeing eye. Kumbaga sa English sentence, very awkward yung English niya. Hearing ear, seeing eye. Ang point niya doon, may ear na hindi nakakarinig dahil nga hindi natututo. Okay. Oh, sino naman ito? Ancient scribe from Egypt, no? 2,500 years old before the common era, before Christ, in the 4th dynasty, Old Kingdom of Egypt. Bakit ko pinapakita ito? From the internet ito, mapansin nyo yung kanyang ear. No? Extra large. Kasi the scribe does not only write, but also listens carefully. No? So that's a sign of educability, yung malaki ang tenga. Okay, that's point 7. The theology. So, God, one God, Creator. Very important ngayon. Kasi there are people now questioning whether this world of us is really created. Anyway, and number 2, the concept of creation as harmonious, orderly, but the human being is still to be formed. Character formation. Number 8, different words for wisdom. The word wisdom in Hebrew is hokmah. Okay? Hokmah. Remember that word. Kasi yan yung Hebrew word niya. Hokmah. And in the first verses of the book, chapters 1 to 7 of the book of Proverbs, it says like this. Let's begin with verse 2. So we learning yung iba't ibang vocabulary o lexicon or words na ginagamit sa libro. Hindi lang yung word na hokma ang ginagamit when they refer to wisdom. Pero maraming synonyms. Maraming ginamit pang words. They belong to the same field, sabihin lang natin, nung wisdom. So, kung meron kang farm na ganyan, merong nakatanim na kamatis, luya, pechay, ayan. In that farm, ito yung mga nakatanim words na matatagpuan mo about wisdom in the field of wisdom. Beautifully laid out, presented sa first 7 verses ng Book of Proverbs. Siguro sasabihin niya, bago mo buksan, ipagpatuloy ang pagbabasa mo ng mga Proverbs, matuto ka muna kung ano yung lengguwahe ng karunungan. For learning about wisdom, that's the hokmah. Okay? Now we have the first word here, instruction. First word na in the field of wisdom, the vocabulary of wisdom. For understanding, second word. Insight, third word. So, dami na yun, no? Isang verse pa lang, ilang words for wisdom now. Instruction, understanding, insight. For gaining instruction, inulit niya yun. In wise dealing, that's another word. Wise dealing, another word for wisdom. Righteousness, another word for wisdom. Justice, another word for wisdom. And equity, another word for wisdom. You see how rich is the vocabulary ng wisdom. So, pag sinabing wisdom, huwag lang isipin yung exclusively karunungan. It has many nuances. And you will find in the first 7 chapters. Then, 7 chapters, 7 verses. Shrewdness, okay, sama. Knowledge, in the field of word for wisdom. Prudence, word of wisdom. Learning, skill. Ako kung nagbibilang kayo, yun ang bilangin, marami. Proverb, figure, words of the wise, pati bugtong, riddles. And then finally, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and instruction. Okay. let me highlight some of them. Huwag naman lahat, yung maubos yung panahon natin din. Hindi natin matatapos. No? Kasi mahaba itong wisdom. Unahin mo natin yung word na instruction. Okay? Instruction is English. English po yun. No? Para yung mga translation minsan, talagang mangangapa sila kung ano yung word that fits yung description o yung word na ginamit sa Hebrew. Kaya makikita niyo yung mga Biblia, magkakaiba-iba ang kanilang salin. Hindi pare-pareho ang pagsasalin nila kasi it is the way they argue and understand what that word is as it is used in different parts of the Bible. Or maybe they know the word used outside the Bible in the ancient world, in other ancient texts. Kaya, product of research din yung ibig sabihin. Yung binabasa natin ngayon, translation na. Kaya nga, kumbaga sa kung mahilig kayo ng kumain ng tuyo, no? Pag nagbabasa kayo ng Biblia na translation, parang inaamoy-amoy mo lang yung tuyo, hindi mo pa nalalasahan kasi nga it's written in Hebrew and Greek. At alam natin sa pagsasalin, may mga maraming parts doon na hindi mo hindi ma-capture nung translation. Kaya nga, once in a while, no, ay lumalabas new translations. You will understand na after a number of years, or even sometimes less than a year, may bago na namang Bible new translation. In fact, yung New American Bible ngayon is being translated for a newer version. Kalalabas niyang New American Bible lang, yung ano bang year na yon. Ngayon, hindi satisfactory pa yung iba, kaya meron pang new edition to come out soon. Pero tinatrabaho pa ng mga experts sa sa Amerika, sa United States. So, you see that when they come understand a new word, a word na ito pala dapat ang meaning niya. So, you will understand that you will have updating of translations and consequently new translations of the Bible. Kaya yung iba gustong-gusto nila yung Biblia na napakaluma na. May advantage yun. Pero parang bakuna yan na hindi na-updated. Upgrade. Na-upgrade kasi yun. Kasi may mga new understanding na nakikita. Okay. Ba't tayo napunta doon? Kasi katatapos lang nung ating memorial ni Saint Therese of the Child Jesus, and I always quote that whenever may fiesta niya, October 1. Kasi very significant sa akin. Nung nag-aaral ako ng Hebrew and Greek sa Rome, meron kaming textbook. Pagbukas mo ng textbook na yon, yung kaagad quotation na galing kay Saint Therese of Lisieux of the Child Jesus na madre, na batang-bata, hindi masyadong educated, no? Kasi kababaihan nung panahon na yan. Hindi naman siya nakakapag-aral sa university, no? And very young, not exposed, pero anong sabi niya? If I had been a priest, sabi niya, I would have studied Hebrew and Greek in order to understand the words of the Lord, okay, revealed in His own language. So, more or less yung ganun yung quotation. No? Kung ako'y naging pari sana, bakit sinabi ko ako'y naging pari? Kasi nga, mga pari lang ang nag-aaral ng Hebrew and Greek sa loob ng universidad o sa seminaryo. na pinapayagan mag-aral ng Hebrew and Greek noong unang panahon. Pero yung sabi niya, kung naging pari lang ako, na hindi naman talaga ako pwede maging pare, so impossible, I would have studied Hebrew and Greek para lalo ko pang maintindihan ang kalooban ng Diyos na kanyang ipinahayag sa lengguwahe na yan. Imagine yung kanyang desire. No? Ngayon, ang dali nang mag-aaral ng Hebrew and Greek. Dali na. No? Everywhere. YouTube, lahat. No? So, pero masyadong advanced na yun. No? My point is, when we read mga ibang parte dito ng Biblia, you might have the idea in English, but they are not exactly the same what you probably would have in the original language. Katulad nito, instruction sa isang translation sa English, pero ang word in Hebrew is muzar, which is closer to the word discipline. So yung wisdom is not only instruction, but tama yung sinabi ng New American Bible, yung NRSV sabi ng instruction, yung New American Bible, discipline. It has something to do with correction, warning. No? A warning. Huwag mong gagawin yan. And you are able to know that is an evil thing to do. You are being warned. And when you do it, you are corrected. A lesson intended to correct a moral fault, that is wisdom as well. Na sense of control sa damdamin mo, halimbawa, sa mga bugso ng iyong damdamin. Okay? And warning. Na huwag mong gagawin yan. So, that's the nuance of that word discipline in the American Bible, instruction and musa. So that's also wisdom. Okay? Another example here would be from Proverbs 24, 32 to 34. Then I noticed and reflected inside me, I saw and learned a muzar, a discipline. See? Ano yung discipline na nakita niya? Huwag niyo isipin yung disiplina na violent punishment noong unang panahon. O huwag niyo isipin yung disiplina ni Diktador Marcos. Yung disiplina niya, tyrannical eh. Sa kakaunlad ng bayan, disiplina ang kailangan, boom, papatayin mo naman yung didisiplinahin mo, sa salvage mo. You behead. You summarily imprison them, torture them without undergoing trials. Anong klaseng ano yun? So, that's not the concept of a discipline. Na para tayong robot na kung anong sasabihin ng diktador, yun ang ano mo. Walang ang gulo, pero robot ka naman. Ano yun? Walang kalayaan. So that's not what Musar is all about. I gave you an illustration here. No? Ano yung discipline na nakita noong wise? Okay? A little sleep, sabi niya, a little slumber, a little folding of the arms to rest, okay? A little sleep, tulog-tulog ka lang, pa-relax-relax ka, poverty will come upon you like a robber, and want or hunger katulad ng isang bandido. No? Kumbaga, yan, tulog-tulog ka, tamad-tamad ka, pa-relax-relax ka, ayan, for all you know, andyan na ang kahirapan, poverty. So the danger warning sa pagiging tamad. So, nandyan yung discipline, no? Na huwag maging tamad, no? And it involves also a warning and a correction, di ba? So, hindi lang siya instruction. Yung instruction, punta ka sa may bagong gadget ka, basahin mo yung instruction, do it yourself. Na igaganon mo, instruction yun, no? It has nothing to do with discipline, with yung warning, no? Na if you do this, this will happen to you. Kaya yung Book of Proverbs, pag marami doong passages na pag ikaw ay mahirap, dahil kasalanan mo na naging mahirap ka, dahil tamad ka. So yun yung understanding niya ng poor, no? Iba naman yung prophets, poor yung kasi inoppressed sila ng hari, inoppressed sila ng diktador, kaya poor sila. Dito naman sa Proverbs, poor yan kasi tamad ka. Narinig natin minsan yan. Mahirap kayo kasi tamad kayo. Narinig natin yun na isang argument eh. Pero totoo din yung sabi ng mga prophets, mahirap kayo dahil may nagpapahirap sa inyo. Kinukurakot yung pera ninyo. Yan. So, pero sa Book of Proverbs, mahirap kayo dahil tamad kayo. So that's 2 points, 2 ways of seeing and reading a social condition. And that is yung reading ni wise person or sage sa Book of Proverbs. So kailangan mo ngayon ng self-control, no? Character formation. Buuin mo ang iyong asal, pagkatao na iwasan mo yung katamaran. Yan. Para hindi ka maging mahirap. Okay. The next word for wisdom na I would like to highlight na nakita natin doon ay prudence. Nalagay doon. To teach shrewdness to the simple, knowledge and prudence to the young. Ang Hebrew word for prudence ay mezimah. Translate nung translator, I think New Revised and Standard Version ito, ang kinakot ko, prudence. Which is, I think, fitting and close to what it originally meant. Kasi yung mezimah, galing yan sa salitang zamam. Ibig sabihin, to hide, to be discreet. To be discreet. Maging mahinahon. No? To be discreet. Yun yung isang word or form of wisdom. Mahinahon ka lang. Kanina, self-control, discipline. Ngayon, prudence. Huwag kang pabigla-bigla. No? Meron kang nakita sa Facebook, hindi mo na pinag-isipan yung sinabi mo doon. Magbitaw ka agad ng mga rash words. No? Kaya nga sabi ng Proverbs 12, verse 18, rash words sa Hebrew, bote. Bote nga. Are like sword, thrust, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. Notice yung antithetical parallelism. Antithetical. Ito yung positive, ito yung negative. No? So, rash words are like sword. Swords, thrust. Nakakasugat, nakakamatay. Pero yung salita ng wise, nakakahilo. Good words. Not rash words. Pero words na pinagnilayan, pinag-isipan. Pag nakabitaw ka na ng salita, hindi mo rin mababawi. Verba volent, sabi nila sa Latin. Yung words lumilipad, nalipad. One who spares words, tignan nyo, prudence. You know how to spare words. You know how to economize your words in proper time. Is knowledgeable. One who is cool in spirit has understanding. One who spares words, discreet, mahinaon, matalino, meron siyang alam, marunong siya. So, prudence. Kailangan siguro natin yan dahil itong Facebook na ito, talagang, anong tawag dyan? Enable niya tayo maging imprudent. No? Diyan ka makakita ng, hindi mo makikita noong years ago na yung klaseng cursing and pagmumura sa kapwa-tao, di ba? Sana itong Facebook na ito, pagbawalan niya naman ng ganyan. Pero sino ba ang pera yun eh? So, third word for wisdom ay takbulot. Sa English na ginamit, translation ay skill. So, yung wisdom din is about skill. Skill. So, hindi lang siya knowledge, self-control, hindi lang siya pang-internal, kasi yung self-control internal. Prudence, internal, knowledge, utak, no? Wisdom, both heart and utak together. Pero, takbulot. What is takbulot? Verse 5 of chapter 1 says, "Let the wise also hear and gain in learning, and the discerning acquire skill." So that's the word for wisdom there. Skill. Takbulok literally means the steering of a boat. You have no idea of what is a boat, but kung ikaw nakasakay na ng bangkang Pinoy, yung outrigger, yung demotor, meron niyang tinatawag na timon at timonero, yung nakahawak ng kawayan na ganyan, na doon sa likod na yun yung timon. So kung gusto niyang straight o ikot, kailangan you know how to do that, no? I also tried to learn when I was a seminarian for 1 year sa isla, kasi minsan nagkakasakit yung timoner, yung boatman, so o kaya minsan lasing yung boatman, so someone has to hold the timon para diretso so you must know how to navigate, no? Knowing the ropes, making one's way through life. No? Sabi nila sa English. No? So, or masikap, maagap, madiskarte, no? May strategiya sa buhay. O the English expression, knowing the ropes. Lalo yung panahon ng pandemic na ito, makikita mo yung mga magaling dumiskarte, kumikita sila, no? Nakakasurvive sila, no? Sa pamaraang maayos, hindi yung pagnanakaw. Siyempre, hindi na yung wisdom yung magnakaw ka, na yung diskarte ng formally, hindi na yun wisdom. Kasi hindi naman character formation na yun, character destruction na yun eh. So, yung masikap ka at mangungulimbat, magnanakaw ka, taking advantage of the situation, na yumaman ka, pandemya, yumayaman ka, ano yun eh, exactly the moral contrast, no? Na yumaman ka, may pandemya, yumaman ka pa, ano na yun, yun pa lang, big question mark na yun. So, that's not a strategy. Yan ay the opposite, no? Hindi yung diskarte, hindi maagap in the wisdom way in the understanding of the book of Proverbs. Pag nanakaw yun, no? That's stealing, taking advantage of the poor, denounced in the book of Proverbs. No? Diba? He oppressed poor, oppressed his maker. Sabi, nakot na natin yan na noon sa libro ng Proverbs. Okay. So, meron pa siyang 11 verse 14, book of Proverbs. Sabi niya, for lack of leadership, English yun leadership, pero ang Hebrew niyan ay takbulot, meaning lack of skill, strategy. Pero ang sinabi ng New Jerusalem Bible ay leadership. Kasi yung understanding niya itong skill na ito ay has something to do with being a skillful leader. Kung wala ka daw takbulot, na understanding ng translator nito ay leadership, kasi nga para yung timon, di ba? Timonero ka nga. You are in charge of the steering of the ship. No? Baka mapunta ka sa bahura. Sa bahura, sabi na yung mga malalaking mga bato. At nabahura, sasabihin ng mga taga Mindoro, pag bumalagbag yung bangka doon sa mga batuhan. Wala na yun. Hopeless na yun. Mabubutas na yung kasko, yung under buhay ng boat, yung nasa ilalim, butas na yun. Wala, nilulubog na yung bangka. So, skill, yung navigational skill, kaya nga sinabi niyang leadership. Kasi yung leader nga, pangulo, meron kang madadala mo ang yung mga tao sa maayos and successful destiny. No? A nation falls. Tulad natin ngayon. For lack of leadership, Philippines is falling. Sabihin na lang natin. Analogy. Safety lies in many advisors, in many skillful navigational skills. So, kita nyo yung pag malaman nyo yung a little Hebrew, mapapalalim nyo yung understanding of even of a very simple word like that. You know, it has something to do with skill, pero yung sabi ko nga, yung skill na may direction. Kaya nga sabi ng New Jerusalem Bible, correct, something to do with leadership. So makita, hindi naman leadership talaga yung word na yun, takbulot. It's really the steering of the timon of the ship. Pero analogously, ay translate niya na leadership. Maganda naman yung translation niya, pero it's already an interpretation. Okay. Ito yung picture ng boat. Nasaan dyan yung timon? Ito. Yan. Yan yung timon. Ito. Andyan sa likod niya yung timon. Ito yung kawayan na hahawakan ng timonero. Para wala namang ang outrigger na ganito, wala naman siyang reverse. Puro forward lahat yan Forward, left, right lang yan So walang reverse. Pag reverse, gagamit na ng kawayan, tikin. Sabi na naman titikiran na nila. Wala naman tayo sa Boracay na nag-demonstrate. Lastly, word for wisdom. 9 o'clock na. Fear of the Lord, the beginning of wisdom. Ang fear of the Lord in the Bible has been sabihin lang natin na became very unpopular. Why? Because yung new psychology ngayon, sasabihin nila, huwag dapat takot sa Diyos, dapat love of the Lord. Pagmamahal. Ba't ka naman matatakot sa Diyos? No? Ba't ka, God is a loving God. You shouldn't be motivated by fear para ikaw ay magsimba o maniwala sa Diyos o magdasal, nagdarasal ka lang dahil takot ka. So yung relationship mo kay God is based on fear. So it's not healthy. Sabi ng mga psychological reading of that, no? Hindi siya healthy mentally and psychologically dahil ang relationship mo sa Panginoon ay batay na founded lang on takot, fear. Dapat love of the Lord. Kaya makikita nyo, hindi siya popular ito dahil nga of that kind of modern understanding of fear of the Lord na takot, traumatic fear, yung bang nasunod ka lang sa president dahil takot ka. Maraming ganun ngayon, pati kami simbahan mga pare. Takot. No? Baka tutudasin ka niya. Mamaya, nandyan na yung ano ka na, no? Ano yan, katulad yung isa namin pare, no? Ay alam niya, minaman-manan siya dahil very critical siya. Critic siya ng ano doon, yung pangungurakot at mga extrajudicial killing. So, yung relationship mo ngayon ay hindi healthy. No? Because you are not motivated at all to be free at malaya mong maipahayag ang iyong damdamin kundi ikaw ay takot. Kaya naging negative yung fear of the Lord. Now, pati ngayong sa Biblia, nag-affected siya. Now, when we think of fear of the Lord, yes, meron siyang element ng fear and trembling. Sabi nga, before the Lord, meron kang yung fear na sabi nila, no? Na-overwhelm ka. No? Dahil ang Panginoon is much, much, much bigger than you. No? You are before an all-glory, all-powerful God. No? So, yung damdamin mo would be fear and trembling. When we say fear and trembling, you are in deep respect of that reality or reverence, paggalang. So, one meaning therefore of fear is hindi lang takot, pero paggalang sa Diyos. Reverence for God. Awe and reverence for God. Respect for God. Hindi yung emotional fear or just simply piety. No? Minsan yung awit natin, fear of the Lord, wisdom, understanding, knowledge, and fortune. Piety and fear of the Lord, 7 gifts of the Holy Spirit. Akala natin yung piety and fear of the Lord, yung piety ay fear of the Lord. Yung ibig niyang sabihin. Dahil pious ka. So, something to do with devotion. Hindi ganon. No? As far as in the book of Proverbs is concerned, no? Hindi yung not merely emotional fear, but really that there is someone greater than you, a creator before you, and you are human being formed, imperfect, unfinished project created by God. You could be lesser than the angels, but you are still a creature. Mas malaki pa nga yung creation kaysa iyo. No? So, your relationship with God is based on respect before the great Almighty. So, hindi siya talaga yung takot, emotional na, yung parang natatakot ako dahil makasalanan ako, kaya tataguan ko ang Diyos. It's more of the relationship of respect for the divine. And if you have respect for the divine, that's the beginning of wisdom. The reshith, sabi ng Hebrew, the reshith. Pagbabasahin yung Genesis, ang unang word doon ay Bereshit, bara Elohim. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Bereshit, bara Elohim, et hashamayim, ve et haaret, sabi. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So, nandun yung word na reshit. In the beginning. So, beginning means parang stepping stone. You will never arrive sa wisdom. At wisdom without the first stone. And what is the first stone? The fear of the Lord. Yeah. And the fear here is that sense of respect, reverence for God. And because you respect God, you do His will. You are obedient to His will. You are faithful to that covenant that He established with the people of Israel. So, yan yung ibig sabihin ng the fear of the Lord, the beginning of wisdom. You will never arrive, but you cannot even begin to think of wisdom without stepping on the first stone. And that is the fear of the Lord. Now, ang question mark ulit, paano nga yung mga hindi naniniwala sa Diyos? Okay. Sila ba ay makakarating din sa wisdom na yan? Kasi wala naman silang fear of the Lord. Okay. Big question, no? Pero, ang Bible, even in the book of Proverbs, may sagot na rin yan eh. Kasi, ang fear of the Lord, in some parts of the Bible, really mean what we call today buddhi or conscience. Yung sense of right and wrong, and you do what is right, even without thinking of God pa. Kahit na hindi ka naniniwala sa Diyos, you are simply a man and woman of goodwill and good intention. Huwag nating lahatin na lahat ng tao sa mundo, na billions of people in the world who do not believe in God ay masasamang tao. We cannot say that, no? Because there is conscience. We believe, this is a Catholic teaching, mayroon tayong buddhi, may konsensya, may conscience that is there, no? Given by God. It's the voice of God. Sabi pa nga natin, voice of God there. Whether you know it is God, or yung tao hindi niya pa narinig kung sino ang Diyos o sino ang Jesus na yan, basta the ability to know what is right and wrong is natural sa tao. It's a natural law. Then, and when you exercise that, that is also fear of the Lord. Although the Lord there is not explicit na Lord na Diyos. Pero what it means there is what is good, what is morally good, you do. And what is evil, you avoid. Conscience yun. So, di ba, sabi pa nga sa Bible, God is good. Okay? We equate goodness with God. So, if you equate goodness with God, whatever is good, may element yun ng Diyos. And you do, and your act, your moral act is good, and that is, God is at work there, even if you do not believe in God. Now, wala sa Proverbs, pero yung example dito na maalaala ko yung si Abraham sa book of Genesis. Napunta siya sa Egypt. Tapos kasama yung si Sarah, maganda. So nagka-interest yung Pharaoh. Kinuha ni Pharaoh sa Hiram. May Hiram si Pharaoh. kung saan niya nilalagay yung kanyang mga mapapangasawa. So, Sarah, the beautiful wife of Abraham was part of that, became part of that. Natakot si Abraham. And then, according to that story, there are three versions of that story. Yung si Pharaoh in a dream, no, ay nai-reveal sa kanya na hindi pala kapatid ni Abraham, ni Sarah, si Abraham. Kasi sabi niya, she's my sister, para hindi siya mapapahamak. So, nagsinungaling na half truth. Kasi, ang wife naman, you can call her sister in that particular culture. And so, sabi niya, it's my kapatid ko, sister. But then it was revealed to her through a dream. So, nung tinanong si Abraham, ba't mo ginawa yun? Anong sabi ni Abraham? I thought, there is no fear of the Lord in this place. Sabi niya. Na kung a-analyze mo yung sinabi ni Abraham, there is no fear of the Lord in this place. Nasa Egypt sila. Wala naman talagang fear of the Lord doon dahil wala namang Lord of Israel doon. The Lord of Israel doon is in the land of Abraham. Ba't niya ini-expect na may fear of the Lord si Pharaoh? Pharaoh yun. Hindi naman siya sumasamba. Hindi naman ginagalang ang Diyos ng Israel. What Abraham was meaning to say, what he meant to say was, I thought there is no conscience in this place. That people do not know what is right from what is wrong. So, fear of the Lord does not necessarily mean explicitly reverence for God, but implicitly it is dahil the conscience is working there. It's about the conscience. So, fear of the Lord as a conscience is the beginning of wisdom. Knowing what is right from what is wrong, what is good from what is evil is wisdom.